Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Hey, glad you're here with us here. Joining us once again, fourth day out of 5 that we do this every week. I'm so glad you're here. Coming to you today from Lexington, Kentucky. Tomorrow it is Atlanta as we're getting ready for another WNBA doubleheader. We'll talk more about that a bit later. Coming up here on the show, we'll talk about a few things. We'll continue our top 25. Right now, we've got Baylor 25, Georgia Tech 24, Iowa State 23. Who does producer Tony have at number 22? We will talk with him later on the show about that. Also, Teddy Bridgewater, as announced, he does join the Buccaneers as a backup down there to Baker Mayfield. We will hear from him. Also, we'll clear up the Dabo Swinney, what he said about the first team to go 16-0. We'll clear that up in terms of the Clemson veteran coach as he sets sights on another national title down in Clemson, South Carolina. So lots to talk about today. Glad you're here with us on the show. Let's get to some of the things that are on our mind right now. First in the NFL, this was kind of crazy. Patriots Wednesday had a joint practice with the Commanders. You know, teams do that. And head coach Mike Vrabel, back in the swing of things, really got back in the swing of things when he dove into a pile to try to prevent a fight. It's according to the Boston Herald. He received a battle wound, emerged from the fracas bloodied. Vrabel, of course, the star linebacker for so many years in the heyday of the Patriots dynasty. According to Chris Mason of MassLive.com, Patriots rookie running back Trayvon Henderson picked up a blitzer, took him to the ground violently. The two players started scrapping, and then Vrabel jumped in to break it up, and a scrum broke out. Folks, it is early August. We are a month away from the regular season, and already we got tempers flying in practice. So, but again, this happens when you do get joint practices. This wasn't a teammate that Henderson slammed to the ground during practice. This was somebody from the other team. So some jawing could have been something back in the day. Maybe they were high school rivals. Who knows? Somebody stole somebody's girl. All kinds of reasons for this. But anyway, that's what happened there. Vrabel bloodied, but I'm sure they're back at it in practice again today. Okay. Major League Baseball, and we're in the dog days right now. And man, we're still buzzing about having Matt Snyder of CBS Sports on earlier this week. If you did not get a chance to hear that episode, go back if you're on Spotify or if you're on Apple and find that. Matt was great, just talking about just in terms of coming out of the trade deadline and looking ahead and some teams that he's watching. In 2025, if you're in need of getting out of a slump or picking up a few wins, just plan a trip to Coors Field. The Blue Jays arrived in Colorado having gone 2-6 in their last 8 games and having given up a total of 66 runs in those 8 games. Well, last night, Toronto capped off a midweek sweep of the Rockies by a score of, 20-1. In the 3 games, their pitching was good, coming off that rough 8-game stretch. They gave up just 6 runs total in that series to the Rockies, but the hitting was even better than that. As Tony the Tiger would say on the cereal box, it was great. The first place Jays finished with 5 homers, 24 hits. They set a major league record with 63 hits in a 3-game series. They established a franchise mark with 45 runs in that 3-game set. I mean, it's one of those, it was like the Oprah show. You get a hit. Everybody gets a hit. Or take 2. Why not? Crazy. So, yeah. Bo Bichette and Ernie Clement also homered for the AL East leaders. They outscored the Rockies 45-6 in the series. And all told, the Jays, 13 homers in the 3-game set. Now, I know that Denver's a mile-high city, and the air is thin, et cetera, but come on. 13 homers in 3 games? All right, so there you go. So Toronto goes to Denver and has a heck of a time. It was great. It was awesome. Tony the Tiger, great. It was outstanding. In fact, it was so good, they added a game to their lead in the AL East over Boston, thanks to some help from the Royals. And Jonathan India, 3-run homer. Michael Wacha scattering 5 hits over 6 innings to help KC beat Boston 7-3. That ends the Red Sox 7-game winning streak. And so Toronto now up on Boston by 4 games. Let's stay in the AL East. The Yankees finally finding their way back into the win column, snapping a 5-game slide with a 3-2 win over the Rangers. Paul Goldschmidt put the Yanks ahead with a pinch hit solo homer in the 7th inning. And newly acquired closer David Bednar came on and pitched an inning and 2/3 to get his first save in a pinstripe uniform. The Yankees avoided being swept in Texas for the first time since 2010 and kept the Rangers from moving past them for the American League's 3rd and final wild card spot. The other New York team almost made front page news last night. So far in the 2025 season, there has not been a no-hitter in Major League Baseball. Zero, none. We had 3 of them last year. Well, Gavin Williams nearly pulled off the no-no against the Mets. Williams just 2 outs away from Cleveland's first no-hitter in 44 years. Len Barker, back in May of 81, was the last Cleveland no-hitters back when they were called, yes, the Indians. The Mets prize free agent signee Juan Soto said, not today. Not today. Solo homered just beyond the leaping grass with center fielder Angel Martinez with 1 out in the 9th to put an end to Williams' goose egg bid. It was the Mets' first hit since the 4th inning of Tuesday's 3-2 loss. Ugh. The Guardians, though, did pick up a game on the Tigers in the AL Central. Luke Keyshaw drove in 3 runs for the 2nd straight game. The Twins beating Detroit 9-4 last night. So the Tigers have now dropped 2 in a row. And Cleveland now 6 games back in the standings. It was just a few days ago. They were 9 back. So Cleveland creeping their way back into things in the AL Central. There's still a long way to go. In Philadelphia, the Phillies not able to add a game to their lead over the Mets by dropping a 5-1 decision to Baltimore. After the Phillies scored 18 runs and winning the first 2 games of the series, Baltimore lefty Trevor Rogers put a stop to that. He improves to 5-2, by the way. He allowed just 1 run on 8 hits with 6 strikeouts over 6 innings. Now, Rogers was acquired by Baltimore at the trade deadline in 2024, has been sensational the last 6 weeks since coming off the injured list. 5-2 with an ERA of 1.44. That is awesome on the season. The Brewers keep humming right along. Let's toast to them. Milwaukee finishing off a sweep of the now woeful Atlanta Braves, 5-4. Andrew Vaughn has been on a tear lately. He homered against yesterday to extend his hitting streak to a career-best 12 games, now batting .435 with 5 homers and 16 RBI in that span. Milwaukee has won 7 straight, and get this, they have won 24 of their last 30 on the road. Meanwhile, the Cubs keep pacing the Central by stopping a 2-game skid. They get a win over the Reds, 6-1. Seiya Suzuki, 27th homer of the season, that led the way for Chicago and moved him into a tie with teammate Pete Crow Armstrong for 7th in the majors and 4th in the National League. By the way, we've talked about the Central maybe closing just a bit. Things getting interesting as well in the NL West. Now, back on July 1st, the Dodgers had an 8-game cushion on the Padres and were making playoff plans. I mean, they were booking hotels, they were planning champagne parties, everything. Well, hold the phone. Put up your smartphone, put it on the shelf, put it back on charge. San Diego, for the 2nd straight game, rallying to beat Arizona 3-2. Jose Iglesias followed Ryan O'Hearn's tying homer with the run-scoring single in the 9th inning for the difference. Couple that with the fact that the Dodgers gave one away to the Cardinals 5-3. Now, Shohei Ohtani homered for his 1,000th career hit, also struck out a season-high 8 in 4 innings on the mound, but was already off the hill when the Cards rallied. Jordan Walker had 3 hits for the Cardinals, including an RBI single that tied the score with 2 outs in the 8th. St. Louis took a 4-3 lead on the same play when rookie third baseman Alex Freeland made a costly throwing error while trying to get Walker at second. So L.A. still out in front in the West, but that lead has been pared down from, what did we say it was? It was 8 games? Yeah, down to just 2 games. Again, as Matt Snyder said just days ago, there's no dominant team right now in Major League Baseball. It is going to be a crazy, crazy home stretch here in the final 6-7 weeks of the season and into October. This is going to be some exciting stuff. If you are only a lukewarm baseball fan, pay attention. You may become a big baseball fan. Just one game of the W last night. Asia Wilson scored 27 points. Jackie Young, Jewel Lloyd each adding 14. Las Vegas over Golden State, 78-72. Wilson, 8 of 11 from the field, hit all 11 free throws, also 2 blocks in the first quarter, and she becomes the 10th player in WNBA history with 500 blocks, a 3-time MVP. Price is not going to win a 4th MVP title this year, but what a season she is having, and trying to urge the Aces back into respectability after they just had they have been on the struggle bus for much of the season, especially on defense, but they come through yesterday and get the win against Golden State. Okay, more on the WNBA coming up. Another sex toy thrown out on the court, or trying to throw onto the court. It was thrown. That's all we need to know. Doesn't matter where it landed. We'll talk about that. And people, come on. Let's have some decency, common sense. That's just gross, and it's stupid. Also, again, Dabo Swinney talking about, again, Clemson and the 16-0 comment. We'll clarify that, and our top 25 continues as well. It's a Sports IQ. Glad you're with us here on this Thursday.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Welcome back here to the show. You know, the Clemson Tigers won 2 national titles under Dabo Swinney. And boy, I tell you what, you know, they're in the 20 teens. They were outstanding. I mean, Deshaun Watson came on. I'll never forget throwing a touchdown pass on his first collegiate pass for the Tigers coming in against Georgia. And that began just a fantastic college career. And then later, Trevor Lawrence coming in, taking over after 4 games as a true freshman and going undefeated at 15-0 year. And he was responsible for 11 of those wins, if I recall correctly. I've talked about, again, I still do the play-by-play for Georgia High School Football Championships on TV every December, and had the great fortune to call both of Trevor's 15-0 high school championships that he led the Cartersville, Georgia team to as a sophomore and a junior. They were upset on a Hail Mary pass as a senior. So anyway, that was a 15-0 year when Lawrence was a freshman, and that was Clemson's last national championship. Well, you may have seen some headlines, a story coming out that head coach Dabo Swinney saying, hey, this Clemson team could become the first to go 16-0. That really wasn't what he said. Here is Dabo clearing the air.
Feature on y'all, you were quoted saying you think Clemson can be the first 16-0 team. I'm sure you're not surprised that comment's drawn a little attention.
That was actually sent to me today, and that's the most clickbait bull crap I've ever seen in my life. I mean, talk about taking something out of context. I have no idea who wrote it, but it's just the way it goes. That's so out of context. I've never said that. I've never said this team is going to. I've said we were the first 15-0 team, and I believe we can go be the first 16-0 team. Like, why not? Like, let's go do it. And I said it's a race to do that. And boy, somebody writes some jacked up clickbait article.
I should clarify too. You were sent an aggregator talking.
Yeah, it was presented
correctly.
Article. Yeah, it was
What's
presented
that?
correctly.
You were not sent the original article. You were sent the aggregator taking that.
What's an aggregator? What is that? What do you?
Not speak to that person. That person found that quote. Yes.
Oh yeah, no, just a friend sent me this article because I showed it to him. I said, "What is this?" Because my friend's like, "Who wrote this? I hope you never interview with this guy. Who is this guy? This is." And I don't even know what he's talking about. And I was doing an interview actually with Eric McLean, and I just looked at my text message and I was like, I'm like, what is it? What is this article? And then he was telling me about it. I don't know what an aggregator is, but whatever. But yeah, come on, man. Like, can we just like get something accurate? And yeah, I do believe we can be the first 16-0 team ever. We were the first 15-0 team, so why would I not believe that? I never said this team's going 16-0 like some jackleg who tries to write to create some article and followers on his Twitter account or whatever.
That's how I read it. I was just making it.
Thank you. That's how you read it?
Yeah,
okay.
Not a direct this year, just
why not? Why would I not believe that? Why would I not believe that? I think we were the first 15-0 team. First one. And it's been done now. Somebody's got to be the first, so why not us? Why not? Like, why not? Somebody's going to do it. So it's a race to do it. I believe we can do it. I don't know if this team will do it. Well, ask me in January. We'll find out. But somebody's going to do it.
Okay, Dabo Swinney, again, he's the Clemson coach. It wasn't what he said. Clear that up. Producer Tony coming in to continue our conversation here. Tony, this is where, again, when people go through, and as he was trying to explain, aggregate and bring together stuff they read elsewhere to do a story, and it pops up on my phone all the time. I mean, it is just, I had a headline of the day that said, WNBA team trades Clark. Well, they want you to click on it thinking it's Caitlin Clark. It wasn't. It was Alicia Clark going from Seattle to Washington in the WNBA. But this is where we get in trouble, and this is where we play on the edges, like he said, for clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. And, my thing is to all the would-be journalists and new journalists out there, do better, be better, be accurate. That is the most important thing. And that's why people right now have trouble with confidence in the media, because we're not accurate sometimes, because we're more interested in seeing how much clickbait we can get and how many, buttons can be pressed to read our story. And it turns out to be either one, completely false, or two, like yours, not even what you thought was the headline that you were clicking onto. And I give Dabo credit for, clearing that up at a press conference the other day and just saying, look, this is not what I said. But, he stuck up for his program and said, why not us? Why can't we go 16-0? That's always the goal. There's a whole bunch of coaches out there right now that you would ask them, would you want to go 16-0 this year? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Sure. Yeah. We're not saying, we're not proclaiming it that we're going to, because it has never happened. And to your point, exactly. It's not going to be there. By the way, speaking of Clemson, what a run. Clemson is riding a streak of 14 consecutive 9-win seasons. And by the way, the only season they missed double-digit wins was in 2023. They went 10-4 last year. I mean, it is amazing the consistency what they've done. We always say, oh, Clemson's off because they haven't won it all. They haven't, won a title in a while since Trevor Lawrence's freshman year. But year in, year out, they just 10 wins, 9 wins, 11, 10, 14, 15-0, 12, 14. It's incredible what he's doing with the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, he is a really good coach, and he cares about his kids, and he wants to do it the right way. Look, he got hurt for a couple of years because he didn't want to play in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
He wasn't interested. Clemson avoided the transfer portal at all costs. Now he's gone in and he's dipped in a little bit, but he still believes in building programs the right way, building them from the ground up, and you bring in high school kids and you give them a chance to learn and then take over for some of your other people as they graduate out or decide to leave maybe a year early for the NFL. So, I mean, I give him a lot of credit for doing all of that, and working hard to get that program where it is. Look, Clemson had been okay, but they hadn't been a standard bearer for a while before Dabo got there.
Yeah.
He does it the right way. He's doing it cleanly. He's a good coach. And from what I've read everywhere, he produces great young men. And you can't ask anything more of any coach anywhere in the country.
Yeah, well said. And you bring up a point that we don't talk about much. You never hear of scandals. You never hear of a player. I mean, boy, there's an SEC school that every offseason there's some kind of driving incident involving that school. There's always something happening with that certain program. I don't care who the coach is, recently or currently, there's always something with that one school. I'm not going to name where it is, but it's not far from Clemson. And Dabo doesn't have that problem. And here's another thing, too. They are as sure a bet as possible. 14 straight years, 9 wins or more, only one non-double-digit win season in that stretch. 13 straight years that they begin and end in the AP top 25. So they're a team that when you see them in the top 25 preseason, guess what? They're going to finish in the postseason, the final AP top 25. That's how solid they are. Hey, we mentioned earlier about the WNBA and another doubleheader coming up tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Dallas taking on New York, and we've got Las Vegas and the Aces trying to make a move here, as we've talked about them as well. There was another sex toy that was thrown at a WNBA game. This one, in a Mercury win, it didn't reach the court. It actually hit a spectator, and I guess like his 9-year-old a daughter or niece or whatever. And so the kid, the 18-year-old, that they caught doing it was saying, well, he saw it, on social media and thought it was cool. And Tony, producer Tony, I don't get behavior like this. I don't get this. I'm somebody that, again, I've never thrown anything at a game. First off, unless you were really close, it's not going to reach the field anyway. So nobody who you're intending for your wrath to be felt on the field of play. Well, because your arm isn't that good, chances are they're not going to know. It's going to not hit them, but somebody else. You'll be ejected and then lose your privilege of going to the games. I just don't get this of trying to be cute. When this is serious, somebody honestly could get hurt.
Yeah, you're talking about throwing objects on the court where players are actively playing a game, and they are not looking to see if there's something laying there or something got tossed. Or they have other things going on. It's just, these social media trends get started, and people, for whatever reason, lose their minds, basically. Oh, I want to get in on the trend. Oh, I want to be cute and funny too. Let me see if I can sneak something into the game. They said this kid brought whatever the object was in a sweater that he was wearing, in the pocket of a sweater he was wearing, and decided to chug it. And he admitted, I saw it on social media, thought it was a cool trend, and it was silly. I shouldn't have done it. Well, great to have that remorse now. You should have thought about that while you were packing up to go to the game, going, really? Should I really do this? Is this really a wise thing? Like you said, he's going to lose privileges. The WNBA is going to ban him from any of their arenas. So he won't be getting a chance to go to another WNBA game anytime soon, which is the right thing to do.
Yep.
And again, you hit some fans in the stands, ruining their experience for that contest, which isn't right. It's like, folks, we got to do better. We got to do better going to games. I mean, Larry, I saw so many videos last year of fights breaking out in NFL stadiums.
Yeah.
The Bills are playing the Dolphins, and then a Bills fan is sitting next to a Dolphin fan, and they can't just sit there and watch the game. Obviously, usually some form of alcohol is involved in those issues. Yeah. But just watch the game. Just watch the game and root for your team. Leave the people around you alone. Let them do their thing. You, other people around this person, don't decide, oh, look, your team's losing. You suck. Root for. Enjoy the contest. Why? Why are we getting to the point where you can't go to a contest without some sort of fight breaking out, or somebody throwing something on the court, or somebody doing something stupid in an arena?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. One of the best fight videos I saw, and unfortunately, I believe the security guard lost his job over this, but it was at a Padres game, I think, earlier this year. You might have seen the same one. And the fan was drunk and mouthing off and challenging the guy. And this dude was much larger than him. Looked like he might have played like tight end in college, and now he's a security guard there at the stadium there. And every time the guy came after him, he just leveled him. And the guy was all bloodied, everything else. And I think I read where the security guard ended up losing his, it was Padres, Pirates. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'll be honest, I really enjoyed the video because it was a fan, to your point, who couldn't just enjoy the game.
Right.
They pulled him away from the fans, and now he's got to pick a fight with the security guard. And the problem is, I go back to, again, we're at a place right now that there are too many theirs. He didn't really mean it. And I think about the Dennis Miller stand-up on HBO back like 30 years ago. It was called Black and White. And he talked about that now it's just it's the temporary insanity clause at the time. And right. He just, well, he was a little, he was low blood sugar. And now he ate his Zagnut bar. So he's okay now. He can go home and be okay. No, he didn't. He killed 3 people. We're at this place right now where there's just not consequence. And if you just, like this kid, well, I didn't really mean it. No, you meant it. You intentionally bought this or pulled it out of your drawer. I don't know what this was. I don't want to think about it. Put it in, wore a sweatshirt to a basketball game in the summer with a pocket in it. And then this was deliberate. So yeah,
you don't get a pass on that. You don't get to say, oh, I was just trying to be funny. I saw it on social media, You need to think. People need to spend more time in thought about their actions before they do it. And that's one of the bad consequences of social media. We've got a bunch of people who are keyboard warriors that want to get into arguments with people online for whatever reason. And, you've got people who bring it then to the stadiums and carry a chip with their shoulder. And we're so much about my team's better than your team. My town is better than your town. My dad it's like the old kid thing. Well, my dad can beat up your dad. Yeah. We've taken that into adulthood now.
Yeah.
And, folks, live and let live. Yeah. Enjoy your life. We only get to go around in this blue marble once. Everybody gets one shot at it. Enjoy it. Have peace and common sense, and let other people enjoy it. And everything will turn out a heck of a lot better. And chances are you might not have to spend 3 or 4 hours sitting in the jail cell.
Right, exactly. Amen to that. So on the court, by the way, tomorrow night, the doubleheader again, it's New York at Dallas. Some will see the early game, Washington and Minnesota. No Nafisha Collier in that game again. She's injured. And then the second game, 10 o'clock Eastern, is the Storm and the Aces. And our coverage on Ion begins at 7 o'clock Eastern. Hope you join us for that. Okay, more conversation to come. Teddy Bridgewater talking about being now with the Bucks and what happens in Miami, that he's no longer a high school coach there. That's next.
Fans of big sports radio and sports spectacular podcasts have a new home on the Chief Sports Network. Find your favorite programs and content all in one place by downloading the Chief Sports app in your mobile device. Created in South Carolina, the Chief Sports Network is the home of an expanding network of live and podcast format programming. It is also the home of one of the leading national college football podcasts, JC and Morgan, hosted by ESPN's Mike Morgan and 24/7 Sports' JC Sherbert. Download the Chief Sports app for free and find all of your favorite programming under one easy umbrella. Thanks to all of our markets for your loyal support of Big Sports Radio and our Sports Spectacular podcast, and we look forward to connecting with you anywhere in the world on the Chief Sports app.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. That's 800-507-7293.
You're locked in to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Hey, we mentioned yesterday about the NFL Network deal with ESPN, where the NFL gets 10% of ESPN. ESPN acquires NFL Network and all that. One thing I didn't mention was ESPN getting WWE. I'm not a big wrestling fan, and it goes back really to my days at CNN back when we would get bombarded calls in the early 90s of people, why didn't you go to the score of the WCW Slam, whatever it was? And we finally had to go to them and say, okay, listen, is this really a competition? I mean, if it's a competition and it's real, then we'll report on it. But but if it's not, then we can't. I mean, producer Tony, you predated. You were there before. You remember these calls that people would call and be mad we didn't have the wrestling score. There was some big wrestling match in St. Louis at the Kiel Auditorium, and we didn't. How dare you not include those scores? And we're like, because it's not real.
And highlights. They wanted highlights. Like, okay, it's not real. It's scripted. It's entertainment. This is entertainment. We don't show movie highlights either.
Right.
We're Sports Network. I mean, yes, they are athletes. Yes, what they do is athletic.
Yes.
But it's scripted. You may not know the results, but they do before they get in the ring. Yeah. And they don't make any bones about it. So why are we treating it as a sporting event? Yeah. It's not.
Yeah. So the more calls we got and we gave that answer, the fewer calls eventually we got. At least people finally got the hint and understood and took it for what it is. Like you said, It is scripted entertainment being performed by athletes. I think, is that a fair way to say it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. They are athletes. Are they athletes? Yes. Are they athletic? Absolutely. Can they do things I could never even dream about? Absolutely. If I tried doing one of those moves, especially at 64 now, they'd be picking up pieces of me outside the ring for 3 days afterwards.
Yeah. By the way, did you have a birthday this week?
Yesterday, yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Hit 64 yesterday. We made it. One more.
Happy birthday. Good for you. I saw that. I'm like, I saw on social media. Wait, is that him or his wife? I thought, okay, wait, I need to ask him. He didn't, that you little so-and-so, you didn't say your birthday. Well, there you go. Here's a virtual bro hug for your birthday. There you go. Speaking of somebody who just gives bro hugs to everybody, Teddy Bridgewater is a guy that he talked about, has always been known as just a class act. We talked before about the time he had at Louisville and early in his career with Minnesota. He was on his way to superstardom and then had a freak injury and battled his way back. The fact he still is healthy enough and can able to use his gifts on an NFL roster is amazing. He was recently a high school coach in Miami and was suspended from that job for impermissible benefits. And, he wasn't, gracing the palms of some kid to go to some school. He was just helping them out. Well, he is signed on now back in the NFL. He signed with Detroit at the end of last season to be a backup to Jared Goff. He now is a backup to Baker Mayfield. Listen, me personally, there's no guy I'd rather have on my roster as a backup quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. He is that kind of guy in your locker room. And he is that kind of talent and smart guy, intelligent guy with all kinds of gifts on the field. He can do nothing nothing but enhance your organization. So he spoke yesterday about the incident in Miami with the high school and answered to explain exactly what happened and why. Let's take a listen.
I think everyone knows that I'm just a cheerful guy, a cheerful giver as well. And I'm a protector, and I'm a father first before anything. And when I decided to coach, those players became my sons. And I wanted to make sure that I just protect them in the best way that I can. And, I think that's what came about. Miami Northwestern is in a tough neighborhood. And, sometimes things can happen when kids are walking home and different things like that. So I just tried to protect them, give them, a ride home instead of them having to take those dangerous walks. But I just want people to continue to see me for the person that I've been, from the time I arrived in the NFL, from the time that I arrived at the University of Louisville. Just a humble guy who has a big heart and a cheerful giver.
How hard was that for you to go through that?
It was difficult, because I have so many relationships with those young men down there in South Florida, at Miami Northwestern, and the bonds that I've established with, Leon Strada, Calvin Russell, Nicholas Lanier, Nicholas St. Joseph. Just the list goes on, and it's a great group of kids, man, and they see so much hope when they look at me, and I always said it's food for my soul. It's the way that I feed my soul, and it allows me to stay young being around those kids. So I think now that I'm back in the league, it's actually going to be extra motivation for them as well, because they'll get to play a game on a Friday night and probably get to drive across the state and come watch the Bucks play and see Coach on the sideline. So it's like, man, coaches just continue to just serve as motivation, and continue to influence us in every way possible. He's showing us that, he can make it to the NFL. He's showing us that he can coach. He's showing us that there are different avenues of life that you can take. And hopefully I'm hoping that they're taking notice of that.
Press on and move forward.
Yeah, definitely. When life throws you different obstacles, you just got to put your hard hat on and keep pressing on. I guess in due time, those changes will happen. But until then, man, I can't change who I am, because of the rules. Like, I have a big heart. I get it from my mom. And, I just always said that I was once those kids, and I know what it's like to be in their shoes. I know what it's like to walk those halls at Miami Northwestern and to have your stomach growling and rumbling at 12 o'clock in the afternoon because you didn't have any lunch money or you don't get the free lunch. So I can't change who I am.
All right, Teddy Bridgewater, the new Bucks backup QB. Producer Tony, bring it back in. I get it. It's one of those things that's unfortunate that those are against the rules. But sometimes we just said earlier, just be human and help somebody.
Exactly. That's all it really comes down to. And look, he talked about it. He wasn't paying players. He wasn't trying to get this guy. And you and I have been in Georgia long enough, and we've seen where high school football has gone. It's not uncommon anymore for high schools to recruit other high school kids. Yeah. And we'll let you in. We got better facilities. We got this. We can line up a job for dad to help you out. All those kind of things. That's not what Teddy Bridgewater was doing. It's not what he was about. He might give a kid a ride home. He might give the kid $5 to take an Uber home instead of walking some unsafe streets in certain areas of Miami after dark. He might get the kid a McDonald's burger because the kid didn't have any money and they didn't have any food in the house, so he got no lunch. He got his free breakfast, but there was no free lunch program, and the kid was going to go hungry and go to practice. So he might have picked him up a burger or two to help him out. That's human. That's human decency. Yeah. When that starts becoming against the rules, we need to take a look at the rules and reevaluate some of the rules.
In fact, speaking of, I know we're talking Teddy Bridgewater, but very quickly, high school football. Have you seen the stadium for Buford High School in suburban Atlanta, Georgia? I mean, I went to a Division I AA school, that produced Mike Shanahan, Tony Romo, Sean Payton, Jimmy Garoppolo. This thing far exceeds that program that actually has one of their former coaches in the College Football Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't know how many millions they spent, but folks, look at Buford, Georgia football stadium. Go look it up. Their pictures that were on X, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it is nicer than than a lot of college stadiums. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. Look, I do games in college high school football here in South Georgia, and I've been at VSU. It's an okay place, but it can't hold a candle. And that's a place where Valdosta High School plays. It's a place where VSU, the college team, Division II, which has won national championships, plays.
Yeah.
And it pales in comparison to what this high school field is up in suburban Georgia that I believe cost somewhere north of $60 million to put up.
Yeah.
So look, there's money to be had, but yet we can't get a kid a burger so that he doesn't, he's not hungry anymore. I have issues with that. I have issues with, other things, basically, without getting political, with how we're spending money in this country. We want to spend it on this and this, but we can't give these things to people to help them survive. It's just wrong to me. It's just wrong.
Yeah, something else. It's something to behold. Then again, you look at some of the high school stadiums in the state of Texas, it probably is, pales compared to that. So I guess everything is relative. But it's something else. But anyway, Teddy Bridgewater clearing the air there, and love to see him there with the Bucks. Unfortunately, he was not able to help the high school kids any further. Let's talk about the NFC East right now. And Tony, you were saying something as we get ready to come on the air about it's amazing that the craziness in this division, and the one team not being talked about is the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champs. There's almost no buzz around them because it's being caught up in all the off-season contract drama with other franchises within the division.
Yeah, you go online, everyone, look, you and I are sports fans. We're checking everything each day to see what's going on, to get ready for the show and to just be informed sports fans. And you read about Dallas, and what did Dak say about the Micah Parsons deal? And what did Jerry Jones say about the Micah Parsons deal? What did Micah say about the Micah Parsons deal or no deal and where it's going? And that's what's taking up their time. Meanwhile, the Eagles are over here just kind of trudging down the golden pathway, doing their thing, taking care of business, looking like the most model franchise there is, at least in the NFC. That seems to be a given. The Giants are inviting anybody and their brother to play quarterback for them at this point. I think they held an open audition down there at 42nd Street the other day to see if anybody could throw a football, and signing them up. They've brought in everybody else to see if they can do it. Washington coming off a great season, a great, finally, old Washington seemed to, reemerge. And now they can't get a deal done to keep their best wide receiver happy with a second-year quarterback who leaned on that player last year. I don't get it. Like you folks have to be looking at the Eagles and you're just letting them get farther and farther ahead. And they're just walking by and going, waving, going, see ya, bye. We got it covered. We'll take care of business on the field.
Exactly. Well, so some preseason games. Week 1 officially begins tonight. Actually, we had the Hall of Fame game last week. The Chargers all over the Lions in that one. That was actually very entertaining. Usually those games, kind of a snooze fest, but there was a buzz around the field there in Canton. I thought that was pretty cool. Colts and Ravens played tonight. Bengals, and speaking of the Eagles, they're at home against Cincinnati. Also the Raiders, Seahawks. That's a later game, 10 o'clock game tonight. Those other games, of course, are earlier. Tomorrow night, Lions and Falcons, Browns at the Panthers, and the Commanders at the Patriots, and a whole host of games on Saturday as well as they continue on. Even on Sunday, too. NFL Network really doing a nice job of getting some good programming for them and scheduling these games where they've got a host of games on their network.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun to see. Obviously, football's back. Obviously, we've got games, and they do keep score. So are you going to see the starters? Probably not. You might see them for a series here or there. There's a couple of things that I'm watching. One, being a Notre Dame fan, I want to see what Riley Leonard looks like in that Colts game. I know he's competing. They've got Anthony Richardson in there supposedly as the starter. Riley is probably second or third string on the depth chart, but you never know. It's not like Anthony Richardson has been a world beater the first 2 years of his career, so anything can possibly happen. You want to see how Michael Penix does if he gets to play a series. What does he look like there in Atlanta? And, just seeing football back again is always a sign that fall is almost here, which if you're someone like me, who was a little tired of it always being 90 plus degrees, as it's been in South Georgia for the better part of 70 something days in a row. I'm looking forward to the fall.
It's the humidity that gets you down there. It is
right.
And it really is. Once you drop off the plateau, the Atlanta plateau, it just, my kids went to college in Macon, and it is just
it's brutal.
Oh, even October, they're like, yeah, we're still wearing shorts. It's just too humid down here. It's the air is just thick, central and South Georgia. So, but yeah, you're exactly right. Football is here. And the thing is, for diehard fans, even though your star players will not be playing much, if at all, it's still a chance to get to see your team. And I think it's perfect. And look, I think it's also a good idea that they shorten the preseason. These are games that by the time you get to the fourth game, you kind of have an idea of who's playing, who's not playing. You were sitting all your starters anyway. So let's make that add one more game where it actually means something.
Yeah.
And you're not adding any more wear and tear to the players. I still think eventually we get to an 18 game season and they reduce the preseason to 2 games. I think that's just, it's being talked about. It feels inevitable to me.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time. It may not happen this year. It may not happen next year, but it's coming. It's coming. How can they get the CBA worked in? Because again, it comes back to the money. Who's going to pay? We got to get more coin from the TV networks, and then we got to give more coin to the players because, hey, this isn't happening with our approval. So
yeah, exactly. So follow the dollars, y'all. Dollar bill. All right. Our top 25 team number 22 is up next.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-373-8414. 800-373-8414. 800-373-8414. That's 800-373-8414.
My muscles ached. I was tired all the time.
My son had a full-blown asthma attack. It came out of nowhere.
The unsettling thing about some symptoms is
a fever,
Headaches.
You don't always know what's causing them.
It was Lyme disease from a tick bite.
A reaction triggered by cockroach allergens.
I had West Nile virus from a mosquito.
Threats to your health can come from unexpected places. Mosquitoes, ticks, and cockroaches can make you sick. Get the facts. Visit pestworld.org.
Well, again, college football is on its way. It's 3 weeks away, and we are counting down. Producer Tony said the preseason top 25. So Baylor 25, Georgia Tech 24. Yesterday was Iowa State 23. Producer Tony, who do you have at number 22?
Number 22, we are going to give the mantle to those Arizona State Sun Devils.
Nice.
And much like a couple of the other choices before this, it comes down to coaching. And look, Kenny Dillingham's a little bit out there as far as coaches. He's a little intense, but he gets the job done. You know, he started 2-7 there at Arizona State. They came on at the end of that first year, won a game. And then since that 2-7 start, they're 12-5, made a playoff appearance, gave Texas all they could handle in that playoff game down there. They got behind early, but then rallied back. So I think, you know, they're number 25 because, one, they've got some good players, and two, they've got a really good coach.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think this is one where we talk about schedule, and we've said, you know, again, this is, like you said, the Big 12 is very even. We've already discussed 3 teams in the top 25, kind of all 3, maybe kind of vying for, that second or third spot in the conference possibly. But to your point, it's a schedule that sets up very well because you don't have that one dominant team. They face a lot of these teams here you don't know. They face Iowa State. They travel to Ames to play the Cyclones. They're at Baylor early on. But this is a team right now, Arizona State, if the ball bounces the right way, like we've talked about, they could be a one-loss team or maybe better, possibly, at the end of the regular season.
Absolutely. You know, they've got some great pieces coming back. Yes, no Cam Scatterbo this year. He's now in New York with the Giants. But they picked up a running back from Army, Kanye Idoya, who had over 1,000 yards last year and 10 touchdowns playing for the Army Black Knights. So they kind of helped fill that role. They've gone to the portal a few times. They picked up 3 offensive linemen, including one from Oregon in the transfer portal. A couple of them are probably going to be starters when they get there. You've got the great quarterback in Levitt. He's back. His favorite target, Jordan Tyson, who transferred from Colorado last year into Arizona State and helped them on that playoff run. He's back. He had 75 catches, over 1,100 yards receiving, and 10 touchdowns. So that part of the team looks solid. And the defense may be even better. They've got 4 guys in the secondary who are solid, who play great coverage. They've been together for a few years. They return 10 of 11 starters on the defensive side of the ball. When you've got continuity in your program, good things are bound to happen. So, yeah, I may have them a little bit low because I want to see how the early season plays out. I want to see if Dillingham can keep it from going to their head, the playoff run that they made. You know, when a team hasn't had success for a while and then suddenly they experience success, sometimes you get a little bit more ego than you should, and it comes back to bite you in the butt. So I want to see how they play out those first few games. But this is a solid program that he is building out there. And if they can have another double-digit win season, you are suddenly going to see the name Kenny Dillingham being associated with a lot more bigger programs than Arizona. Take nothing away from Arizona State, but he may start climbing up there into those SEC Big Ten discussions if jobs come open after this season.
Yeah, it was one of those where, we saw Iowa State sign Matt Campbell to an extension last week. I believe it's like $5 million a year, runs through 2032. Look, it probably is not the last deal he's going to have there because of the way the economics are. There are, if there are schools paying, $7, $8, $9 million or more for a quality coach. To your point, he may be somebody that you'll hear by the end of the year, they've locked up into another extension to give him more money, to keep him happy, keep him around, and keep the Wolves at bay, if you will. And even we're seeing sometimes some of these schools are signing these coaches to non-competes and to where, they can't go out and look elsewhere. So if it's legal, we'll see, what happens with that. But you're exactly right. One of the surprising things last year about the Sun Devils, they were 4-0 against ranked teams last year, getting into the playoffs before they did have that loss in double overtime to Texas. So it's not like this is a team that skated by on an easy schedule. I mean, they had 4 ranked teams. They beat all 4 of them. Pretty impressive. And like you said, out there in Tempe, it's exciting to see the Sun Devil program back being on top again. And it's one of those, we talk about this new echelon of college programs, and has a chance to kind of join the big boy table and be one of those teams we talk about every year. And Arizona State has that chance to be one of those teams. We've talked about, Indiana's there, Illinois is there. Baylor has already, they've made some noise. Obviously, Texas, we talked about, they're one of the blue bloods. Arizona State could be one of those teams. There's no question. All right. Guess what's next? It's our moment of awe coming up now.
Are you tired of your website making your business look bad? Is your current web developer dropping the ball? Let's face it, if your website isn't making you money, it's broken. Let Neon Rain create a website that turns your visitors into customers. Neon Rain has worked with hundreds of businesses across North America, building custom websites and applications with modern designs that are easy to update and work well on mobile devices. They can do it for you too. What sets Neon Rain apart? They actually deliver on their promises. Call today for a free consultation. 303-957-3092. That's Neon Rain at 303-957-3092. Or visit them at neonrain.com.
Well, time now for a moment of awe. It's going to happen this weekend in Atlanta when Jen Powell makes history, becoming the first female umpire in Major League Baseball. She'll work the doubleheader at Truist Park there as the Braves take on Miami. She'll work the game on Sunday as well. 48 years old, has worked in the spring training games, worked minor league games. It's a great moment in sports. Jen Powell about to break through that glass ceiling and become the first female ump in Major League Baseball. Very cool. That's on Saturday. That's our show for today. One more coming up tomorrow. We can't wait. Make it a great Thursday. We'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at Sports IQ LS. We'll see you next time.